Students, I'm going to take you back 28 years quickly. 28 years ago, an experiment was established on this Harkerville plateau site. The person who did this was the late Professor Janusz Zwielinski, who was a scientist working in this area at the time. And he did a wonderful job and left us with a wonderful legacy, because from his work we can now quantitatively see what is the effect on tree growth of the various treatments that had been imposed here. If you look towards my right-hand side, you will see some raised beds, whitish soil in the background here. And this is the start of the experiment that I will explain later. Why is it so important for us to have an experiment of this nature? It is important because after we've studied the soil profile, we may find that there are certain limitations to growth. Or if we study the soil chemistry, we may find that there are certain nutrients in poor supply. But how will we know quantitatively how much growth can be improved if we don't plant trees on such treatments, where we, for example, either manipulated the soil physical conditions or we applied fertilizer? If we don't have an experiment showing us quantitatively how much tree growth can be improved, how will we know if the whole operation will be economically feasible? For example, if we apply fertilizer here and we only get a 2% improvement in growth, it's hardly going to cover the cost of fertilization. Whereas, if we apply the same treatment but we get a 100% improvement in growth, then there's no question whether we should do it or not. And then, of course, the other thing that becomes important is having such an experiment also shows us the long-term effects. And when we spoke about soil amelioration treatments before, we did mention that it is important to look at risks when you do soil physical ameliorations, the biggest one being erosion risk. And with an experiment of this nature, we can look back 28 years from the time it was established and see, was there any erosion that took place in certain treatments? How did it compare to the control treatments where no additional work was done other than just pitting and planting trees? So keeping that in mind, that the quantitative response of trees to treatments is very important, I now invite you to come and look at the profiles, and we can then make our sums after studying the soil profile, the soil chemistry, and very importantly, the tree response to those treatments. Let's go.